rice cookers.
Well, welcome back. In today's episode, we're going to show you how to prepare for a B20 all-wheel drive engine to be removed from an RD1, and we're also going to show you the wrong way to get it out from underneath the car. Yeah, that was a bit of a shit show, but she's out. All of this is because the RD1's getting a K-swap. First thing out of the way for this engine removal is my sick intake. So let's whip that off real quick. Radiator out and drained. The automatic transmission fluids dropped. Engine oil's dropped. AC lines are disconnected. Now I'm going to need to move on to throttle cable, fuel line, vacuum hoses, the power steering line, and need to move inside and disconnect the ECU. Pull the loom through, also take out the battery. I've got a few things to do up here before I can actually pull the engine out, but yeah, let's get started on it. Throttle cable, 12mm, slide it forward, and then pull that pin through. And now they got the battery out and the fuse box unbolted. There's two 12mm down in all that. Right there, and two 12mm over there. That, I believe, should be the engine loom. Got access to the cabin side now, so we should be able to go in there and feed some plugs through. Bracket probably needs to come off of this loom too, because it won't fit through the hole, I'd imagine. It's being held on by a little tab right there. Pull that off, give yourself some more pull on the harness. Get this power steering line off. Okay, this is the charge harness. That needs to come off. Goes onto this little clip here. 2 8mm. This one on the right goes to the actual terminal. The one on the left looks like it probably goes to the starter motor. Plug it. Like so. It's time to get some grounds removed from this engine, so we'll start with the rocker cover. And we got the loom over on the gearbox side. That can be released just like the green ones. Before I forget, we got one more heater hose back here. Okay, well that's the power steering line there, and that's that switch. Let's pull this fecker off. It's attached to the back side of this intake manifold, and it's clipped on to the subframe, so that definitely needs to come off. Before I move any further up top, it'd be good to get a lot of this stuff unbolted underneath, so that's going to start off with the prop shaft. Multi-point 10, we're going to use an impact and a universal, and buzz these off really quick. You want to make sure the transmission's in neutral so that we can turn these. Okay, that's the prop shaft disconnected. Now at this point, if you're just taking out the engine to repair something or replace with the same engine, you could probably leave this like this, but because this is getting swapped out for K-series, I need to remove the whole prop shaft to give me as much room as possible. Okay, here we are at the diff. I'm going to remove this side of the prop shaft and rotate and repeat. Huh. I'm sure there's not supposed to be fluid coming out of that. What the hell? Well, looks like I might be using the RD5 diff, because I'm pretty sure fluid shouldn't be coming into here. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but that doesn't seem normal. Next up we have the 14s for the prop shaft bearing here, the carrier bearing. Couple of 12s. Drop this hoop down. Next up would be the exhaust. I'm going to take it off at the collector here before the cat. So, like that. There we go. So to get this off, there's a little like slot in there that clips over something. You have to push down on it and slide. It comes off that tab. Alright, this is the underneath of the automatic transmission. This is where the selector goes in. So I'm just going to see if there's something under this to release it, because otherwise it'll still be attached to the car when I remove the frickin' engine. There's another one up top on the back. Just here. Split pin holding that. That just slides out of there. Like so. Put that back in there for safekeeping. Like so. Right, that's the auto trans disconnected. Now that we have most of the underneath ready to go, it's time to move on to the hubs so that we can get these axles out. First off, this nut is a 36. A little bit of WD in there just to help loosen things up, because that might not want to come out of there. I'm going to take off these 10 mils that are holding this ABS sensor on. I'm going to have to pull this hub forward to pull out the back of the axle here, and I don't want to damage or snag this line, and I'll probably have to do the same for the brake line. Just put these 10 mils back in so I don't lose them, and we'll move on. Now we're looking at the brake line running down to the front brake here. Just going to take off this 12 mil holding the line on. Now with this line unbolted and the ABS sensor disconnected, we'll be able to undo this upper ball joint here, pop it out, pull this forward, unbolt the suspension fork here from the bottom, and we should be able to push this axle out. Okay, this bottom bolt is a 17 mil nut on this side and a 17 mil bolt on the other. And then the next one is up here, and that is a 14. And there we go. That's got the lower fork out of the way. Something like that, maybe. Ooh, come on out. There we go. Now we can try and pop that axle out from underneath. Alright, this is on the driver's side for me, because it's a right-hand drive car. So this would be the gearbox side for universal references. Just get something in here and try and get some wedge going on it. It's not going to be enough. Got a crowbar here. There we go. This is the engine side with the intermediate shaft or the half shaft. As you can see, I've already banged on this a few times because it was in there pretty tight when I last pulled this car apart. So hopefully it pops up a bit easier this time. I'm just gonna give it a little tap here. Got a hammer and a chisel. There goes one axle. Ow, ow, ow. Bastard. Okay, that's the other axle out. So before you take a hood off, little tip is to paint the hinges where it matches the hood, or scratch it with something. Just makes aligning it when you go back to put it back together a lot easier. So let's get these washer lines off of here and then unbolt 10 mils. There we go. Next we got this line for the brake booster. This line here, which is some sort of evap purge line from the, I think it's a fuel tank. I don't know what I'm going to do about deleting all that. Another vacuum line that runs to the back here. Also part of that same evap system. There we go. I guess it's time to start dealing with fuel. Make sure the washer is still on there, which it is. Alright, now we got the fuel return line. Got it looped through this trans bracket here and looped underneath this part of the cam side engine mount. Let's get this 17 back there first, seeing how it's way in the back. Here's the rear mount out. Alright, this is the transmission mount for the torque mount for the chassis. We got a extension with a universal on a 17 coming through the front bumper. Torque mount from underneath the chassis is a 14 bolt. Okay, with this thing pulled and pushed out of the way, I should be able to get to these two 14s underneath. There we go. Okay, here we are on the gearbox mount side. Okay, now I need to drop this side down to get access to the other bolt down here. Here we go. That should give me enough space. Okay, these are important to keep for the K-swap. So maybe I'll just leave that one there for now. Okay, so there's 3 bolts. One here, one on that side, and one underneath it. With these 3 bolts removed, it just gives me a lot more clearance to get this engine out. So that's the side mount, the gearbox mount at the back, and the torque mounts underneath. So now I can start to bring this up a bit, and we'll take off that cam side engine mount. Get it above the leveler. There we go. That's starting to pull up on that a bit. This should be a 17 as well. 3 14 mils. Right, let's take off this rear engine mount down here from the subframe and see if that gets me any twisting or room. Subframe, engine mount removed, and the T-bracket for the transmission has been pretty much removed. Just need that bolt to fall out and then the whole thing will. Whew. See what we can do with that. There we go. Let her out. The engine's basically sitting on the ground now, so I'm going to try and force it onto the fucking floor and lift the front of the car up and try and pull the engine out underneath. I've got the engine hoist hooked to the front of the car, and I'm going to see if I can hoist it up above the engine. Get out! Oh, what was that? Okay. Okay, slowly lay this down. Well, there it is. The engine's out. Finally. Made some space for the K-Series. Nice one. What a piece of shit. Let me know if anyone wants some B20 parts or ECU or something. Well, if you made it this far to the end of the video, there's a little sneak peek of some bullshit. That mount there, wrong. Can't use it on the all-wheel drive gearbox. Over here. Need something different to go onto this. And Adam over at Speed Science just sent me this. Nice little logo he's got on there. Everything's labeled really nicely. This is quite an expensive piece of kit. I will never financially recover from this, but it'll help get this K-swap going, because that harness that I had before, I don't think it's going to work. I'll keep the RD5 harness. Maybe I'll use it for like a build in the future. Maybe the SJ Accord, when that gets a K-swap, I can try and cut up a couple harnesses and make something. But yeah, that really saved my ass. So cheers, Adam. Well, engine's out. Might have been a bit of a shit show, but it's out. So that means we can get prepared for the K-Series engine to come in here. So yeah, if you're enjoying this content, make sure to check out my other videos on the K-swap. It'll give you a better idea of why I'm doing all this. And yeah, subscribe, because that really helps. And like and comment and share and blah, 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 blah. See you on the next one.